If you ask the pros, what is the best character in the game, they will tell you idiotic things like, oh, it depends on team comp, and oh, what time of the game is it? I call Croc. The only way to determine the best hero in the game is through a 6v6 monohero single elimination tournament. That is the only 100% fair way. Today's match?
Warden versus Haze, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to start an amazing game of One Trick Championship. For the first time in this tournament, I'm solo casting because Akers is busy today, and it's fine because I love both of these characters. Haze and Warden are some of the most staple characters out there. I think Haze is one of the most popular heroes, if not the most popular hero in the game. And Warden is just a very solid all-rounder, you know? He presses his 4, he does a lot of stuff. He doesn't have like an incredibly specialized role. He's good in team fights, has a good gun. So we are very anxious to see who's gonna win this one. Now, normally Akers and I would be discussing who is the most favorite to win. Is it the Hazes or the Wardens? Now, there's one thing that's really worth noting, which is a little bit annoying, which is what happens if a Haze shoots somebody and you have a fixation stack build up, and then a second Haze shoots that very same person and they also have a fixation stack build up. Well, it turns out the fixation stacks override one another, which is a fair bit annoying. However, I would not count these guys out. We have some of the top players on both sides. Chua MC we have on the Warden side. We have Comrade from Stalingrad. And we also have Martini. Martini's a big friend of the channel. He is the person who did Master and Disaster with me, teaching me how to play Haze. And he's also the person who's played the most games in Discord of Deadlock, period. So these guys have a lot of wisdom on their side, right? But yeah, let's talk a little bit about early game. So early game, the Hazes are pretty damn good. Well, they're not like fantastic early gamers, but they have one big advantage against those Wardens, which is they have very fast guns. It's going to be a lot easier for the Hazes to deny. And we do see the Hazes are a tiny bit ahead on all lanes just because of their ability to deny. Now, of course, the Warden gun hits you like a truck, and the overriding fixation certainly does not help. But it is going to be very good for the Hazes to just play a little bit passively, deny, get those ults in, and hopefully survive when the Wardens get their ults, right? But yeah, both of these characters are not known for being like incredible early game characters, right? Haze is probably one of the weaker earlier game ones, but she does have somewhat good matchup because of the denies against Warden. The gun speed has just become a much more important part of how the game is played. Because it's not just anymore about, oh, who's the stronger character, who gets the best, like, 1, 2, 3 instead of their ults. But it's also about those denies. Like, it's just a lot easier to fight against a character you're supposedly weak against if you're a 2k, 3k souls. And we do see the Hazes have already had their first pick. Very big stuff happening. So, yeah. One of the big questions for the Haze is going to be, how do they determine who's the correct target, right? Because if it is the case that two Hazes are shooting at the same Warden, they're just not going to do any damage. One of the core skills of a Haze is just figuring out when it is your time to go in and when it is your time to just shoot from afar, because fixation stacks build regardless of the distance. If the bullet hits you, you get a fixation stack, or 2 if it's a headshot. So it is very important for them to figure out when to go in, and when they go in, they cannot have the other Hazes be hitting the same target, because otherwise the fixation stacks are all going to go away. This leads you to believe we're going to see a whole bunch more ult builds than we would normally see. Ult builds are pretty good on Haze. Even after the ult build nerf, it's not like they're bad. A Haze can probably outdamage Warden inside their ult if enough fixation stacks are built. But yeah, we're going to see how each of them are going to play. A little bit of an early lead happening for the Hazes, 2k ahead. And it's just very important to get that early lead if you're the Hazes. There's this scale in my head of how weak a character is if he's behind on souls. So when we think about characters, right? There are some characters like let's say Mo, the support characters, even if they're behind on souls, that's usually fine. They can still play their role well. Util characters like Lash also come to mind. On the other hand, there are some characters like Warden and Haze that really need to be ahead on Soul. 2 ults happening right now. Those binding words though are just so good at making sure that the Hazes cannot ult you. They just stuck the Hazes in place. But regardless, what was I saying? I was saying that both Hazes and Wardens really like having a big an advantage, right? If you do not have a massive soul advantage against an opponent, you can just stay in the Warden's ult and then get no damage from it. Combination of armors and just out healing the Warden. Same goes with Hazes. A fed Haze is a very dangerous thing. An unfed Haze, a lot less so. So yeah, this early game is gonna matter a lot, more so than other games, which, you know, to some extent have been determined by the early games. But yeah, whoever gets the advantage in this early game will have a very strong mid game, which both characters desperately need. Right? Anyhow, we keep seeing picks left and right. The Hazes still have a slight lead, and we haven't really seen a Guardian go down yet. Oh, I do really like the binding words happening just to block these ults and make them less effective. Wardens do have an incredibly good gun. It's a bit slow, not great for denying, but very good at shooting at people. And the big jump coming in without a binding word, and that's going to be enough to kill something. Yep, no, hide shoe dies right there. But yeah, see, in these 1v1 situations, the Hazes are just destroying the Wardens. It's only in 2v2 situations that the Hazes are struggling a little bit. Yeah, is it a fair game? We will see. Is it a fair game? I do like seeing more fair games. For spoilers, Chevy Paradox and Bebop versus Geist were a little bit more one-sided than we would have liked. And of course, there's character differences. It's not just about characters being worse and better. There's some characters that are really good in 1v1s, but just suck at 6v6s. Haze is, you know, a character that has their fixation stacks be over it. But we do like seeing more equal games. I want to see this 30, 40, 50-minute game happen. I don't want to see a 20-minute game. I think it makes for more entertaining watching. And I mean, this is what I was talking about. You can press 4 as Haze, and you'll probably survive if Warden presses 4 back. And there's only so many abilities in the game where you can do that. You know? Yeah. So the Hazes still maintain a small lead. Is it going to be enough to grab a Guardian still? So the fixation stacks also build up on buildings, as far as I'm aware. Somebody should maybe correct me on that. But makes Hazes very good at getting those Guardians. Warden also has a very powerful gun. It does a shit ton of damage. It's not, it's a bit slow, but it's just really good. Okay, yeah, the sleep, oh god, that poor Haze gets massacred there. Yes, 2 big picks coming in, and I think the Wardens might get the first Guardian right here. It's gonna be interesting then. Like, the Wardens have grabbed the very slight 1k lead for the first time. And once you don't get the Guardian, you force bigger fights. And this is going to be a very big problem. Wardens have one of the best teamfight ults in the game. Their ult is just incredible. The Haze ult looks like it's supposed to be a splash ult. It looks like it's supposed to kill 6 people at the same time, but it really isn't. It excels at single target damage, and that's about it, right? So once you go into 2v2s, from 2v2s into 3v3s, 4v4s, 5v5s, the Hazes are going to lose power because their ult is less powerful, whereas the Warden's ult is more powerful. But you know what's the worst thing? It's just coordinating your fixation stacks. Who is supposed to shoot which Warden? That's going to be so tough for these Hazes to figure out. And in a 6v6 situation, it's just going to be tougher. Okay, we keep seeing these... No. Oh, scheisse. Let's fix that very quickly. Okay, fixed. I have to open voice chat because I like talking to my teammates when I'm playing games on the ladder. I've seen some of you folks out there. Thank you so much for greeting me. Remember to always say hello. Yeah, we don't want to hear people talk because who knows what they might say. They might start saying anti-Haze and anti-Warden racial slurs, and we can't have that. Now, a little bit of an advantage. So yeah, lane number 3 is goes for the Wardens, and the Wardens are suddenly forcing these bigger fights. And these bigger fights are certainly not in the advantage of the Hazes. These Wardens could just keep ulting one after another, and we keep seeing pick after pick after pick. Yeah, they can just walk on Guardian. There's very few characters who before 10 minutes can like easily walk on a Guardian, and Warden's one of them after he presses 4. Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult. Okay, Urn is interesting. Urn is very interesting. The reason why Urn is very interesting is because while the game is pretty equal, the Hazes have a very big advantage with the Urn, which is they can become invisible. Now, of course, they're not going to get like a movement speed or something, but that invisibility, especially if you upgrade it, can be very useful to sneak the Urn by in a way, right? So that's going to be an interesting source of a big team fight. Now, the other side of it is, of course, the Hazes don't want a massive team fight. They ideally want only 1v1s. This whole game should be only 1v1s versus Hazes for Hazes, right? But yeah, the Hazes are not pressuring Guardian number 2. We do only see one Warden there. Is it gonna be enough? Okay. Yeah, with Haze escapes. Very well done. I love how they're alternating hitting the Guardian. It's just like, oh, you're following me? Okay, I'm gonna hit the Guardian then. Alright, two Wardens chasing there. The Haze backs up. She does lose her healing, right? She's not in a great position. And we were discussing a little bit about what the builds are supposed to be. And one of the things that came up very frequently was double dagger build. So double dagger sleep builds are just very powerful, very popular, I would say right now as well. And they also mean that you can pick a target in a way, right? And one thing that I do want to see more is sleep daggers towards Wardens that have ulted. If a Warden is charging their ult, you press sleep dagger and suddenly they're stuck in place. Oh, it's the Wardens who have the Urn right now. That Urn fight is going to be interesting. But yeah, as we were discussing, the Wardens are just really good, and we see Withering Whip. Okay, so in the Bebop versus Geist game, there was this huge problem. Oh, is that enough? Yeah, no, this Haze is probably screwed. Sorry, what was I saying? In the Bebop versus Geist build, we did see a lot of Restorative Lockets. Restorative Locket turns out to be one of the best counters for a Geist. And when there's 6 Geists, it's just very difficult for the Geist to have any counterplay. Now, Withering Whip? That's a good idea. Withering Whip is one of the best anti-Haze things that you can have, frankly speaking. Ooh, Haze gets parried. And those Withering Whips, especially if all the Wardens have them, are going to be really powerful. Oh, we see a melee charge on one of the Hazes. That's kind of funky. Melee Haze? Uni, can we have a check of the Wardens? I want to see how many of them have Withering Whips. We see 1 Slowing Hex, 1 Withering Whip, 2 Withering, 3 Withering Whip, 4 Withering Whip, 4 Withering Whips, and 1 Slowing Hex. Slowing Hex is usually like the tech of choice between Decay, Withering Whip, and Slowing Hex are in my mind like the active, like the spirit actives that you just like put a debuff against your opponent. And I think it's just very, very powerful. It's just very, very powerful to have either of those 3. And usually for the Wardens, Slowing Hex is the thing that they really, really like. It makes sense. You want to Slowing Hex somebody, and then you want to do a lot of... you want to hook them with your Binding Word or whatever it's called, throwing your Soul and Grenade, and suddenly they're stuck, and you can press 4 or hit them with impunity in their head. But yeah, the early lead for the Wardens, for the Hazes has evaporated, and the Wardens have now a little bit of a big lead. As we were discussing, the more Wardens there are in one location, the worse it's going to be for the Hazes because of the overriding Haze fixation stacks. So, and that's becoming pretty apparent. And also the Withering Whips are a very, very, very good call from the Wardens. It's going to be very difficult for the Hazes to counter those Withering Whips. So, yeah, the Warden can just press 4 here. He's probably going to be able to trap at least one of the Hazes. The second one manages to back to Walker. I don't think the Warden gets to push that, at least not easily, and he just backs off. So far, 3 Walkers untouched on both sides. We just see like a punch Haze sort of build. That's actually kind of wonky. And those sleep daggers over and over and over again. The Hazes can just retreat from bad fights. Well, retreat. They can attempt to retreat from bad fights. One thing I do have to say about the Wardens, their core strength is their ability to just run very, very fast. Their shield gives them 30 or 40% increased movement speed. And then you add something like Fleetfoot, Heroic Aura, maybe Enduring Speed, and you can just waltz through the map. And the Hazes also are fast because of their smoke bomb, right? The smoke bomb gives them, I think, 4 or 5 meters per second. And that's a very powerful speed boost. But what happens when the Wardens are just much faster than you? Suddenly the Hunters become the hunted. Anyhow, Spirit difference 15k. A little bit, it's starting to get concerning. Now, can the Wardens capitalize on that, right? And grab one of these walkers, get an objective, push a lane. So far, no. They've been getting picks, they've been getting the odd Haze here or there, but not a single walker. And that's going to be very important. If you want to push those lanes, you want to get the map advantage. You do not want to have like all your Wardens spread out because you want to create a 6v6 scenario. And it's easier to create a 6v6 scenario if, for example, there's only one walker left or you're sieging their base. It is a lot harder if you're fighting on 3 lanes at the same time. Oh, parry's happening there. Is this all gonna be enough?
Warden is around here.
This is also a very interesting thing. Just like the system of pinging in the game is very heavily dependent on the idea that, oh, there's 6 characters in the game with 6 different voice lines. What happens if you ping if you're a Haze and you ping a Warden? A Warden's around here? Okay, where's the Warden? And we do see the Wardens have just secured Urn with impunity. It is proving very, very difficult for the Hazes to do anything in this match. Is that going to be enough to secure another walker, though? Big fight happening. Wardens do have a very good anti-objective gun. And metal skin, the very first metal skin happening from the Wardens here. It doesn't surprise me at all. Oh, big pick there. Yeah, the metal skins are going to be really powerful this game. Haze is, like, the usual advice if you have a fed Haze is just get metal skin. And what happens if you have 6 Hazes? It's irrelevant how fed they are. Metal skins are just going to rock this game. This is part of why the Hazes were discussing a double sleep dagger build, because that enables them to do spirit damage, which is something that the Wardens will struggle a little bit more with resisting. However, the Wardens do have that shield. That shield doesn't just make them fast, it also gives them spirit shield, which is exactly what they would need to face the Hazes. But yeah, the Wardens are pushing all the way to Amber base. They might get Guardians here. That is really bad. Oh, we see silence glyphs coming in. That's an interesting idea coming from the Hazes. Those silence glyphs mean that the Wardens cannot activate their ults. And if you figure out which one of the Wardens has not yet to activate his ult, then you can block out the Warden entirely. I am very curious to see if this is going to pan out. Anyhow, if these were 6 Infernuses, that Warden with 45 fixation stacks, that would be easy. Because if an Warden is already burning, then another Infernus can just swoop in and then reset the damage. On the other hand, these Hazes are forced in these 1v1 scenarios. Yeah, that Haze is trying very hard. A very good amount of movement there. Return Fire, another big tech from the Hazes. But yeah. The Haze backs there. But yeah, Return Fire, Metal Skin are things I really expect to see this match. It is very obvious what counters the Hazes. It is a lot less obvious what counters the Wardens. Now, of course, their Withering Whip is still an incredible tech against Wardens, so anything that stuns them or forces them in one place, like a Sleep Dagger, also incredibly good. But it is just very difficult to see how the Hazes are going to be able to pick it up from here, right? The soul difference is close to 40k right now. The Hazes are just trying to get a Guardian. I mean, this is one of the things they're very good at. Just getting a Guardian and then pressing their smoke bomb and running away. Fleetfoot cancel, heavy melee cancel coming in. And that's an... Oh, God. The Guardians are in base right now. They are about to get Wardens. And yeah, as we were discussing, it seems as if the Haze ult is supposed to be one of the best team ults. I mean, this is genuinely unplayable. Yeah, it might be a little unplayable. I was really hoping for a more equal fight. Especially in the beginning, it seemed like the Hazes had a little bit of an edge. But right now, The patron is falling. Are the Wardens just gonna go in? Screw the mid boss, screw everything, just go in. And the answer is yes. And I think that should be it, ladies and gentlemen. It seems as if the Wardens. Oh, wait, do they? No, yep. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we have it. The Wardens have won the Haze versus Warden match, and they will advance on to the next round. Hey, Wardens! Hello, hello, hello. One question for you guys before I let you go. Who do you think was the MVP of the match? Or what do you think was the MVP of the match?
Yoshi for
Fire.
killing Haze.
It's Yoshi is the MVP.
I think Hayden, Warden all was. Warden all was just so strong.
Wouldn't
Dude,
really
Withering Whip carried me that entire time.
Okay, so we have
Whip
three
without the focus
MVPs.
is,
We have Yoshi, we have Withering Whip, and we have the ult.
Sure, go for it.
Lovely, we take that.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It seems as if it's not Warden being OP as much as Haze sucking because of those fixation stacks. We had some excellent players here, and if you want to join, if you're Ascendant or Eternus, please join our Discord. If you love the content, you should also join our Discord. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next game.